Hey there YouTube, this is TheBattleRifle and today I'm doing a quite a big FSX tutorial and today I'm going to teach you the basics of flying a 737. This is the FSX default 737. This is obviously Singapore Airlines, you don't actually get it with Flight Sim, but I just had it anyway, so I'm going to use that. So basically guys, I'm going to start off idle at Heathrow. And I'll pretty much, I'll pretty much just show. Actually, do you know what? I'm gonna go airlines, but I'm gonna go in Dubai because I'm random. Okay, so I'll just load up this and then basics. Now, really, guys, I'm going to mute the sound for now because the game is really loud and you can't hear my voice, so I'm going to just mute the sound quickly. Oh shit. Yeah, it's dark, so I think just for presentation purposes. Actually, no, do you know what? It'll be fine. To be honest, I'll just record it like this. Okay, so basically, guys, you see there's a lot of controls here. I'll show you what the lights do first of all. You've got anti-collision lights, which is the rotating beacon light at the top of the plane. It's the red flashing light you see now. You need that always when you fly, even if it's daylight, simply because it's just a thing. You have to do it. Now, I'm just going to show you some of the controls, guys, and the lights. I'll show you what they do, and I'll tell you if you actually want to reenact an actual flight, then these things are quite useful. So, yeah. So basically, before a flight, the main thing you want to do is check everything works. So what you've got here is the for example, the fuel switch. As you can see, the engine instruments. The engines are on at the moment. You see the left engine on this display that I've just put up on the thing. If I cut off the fuel switch, which is just below the throttle, you see the engine switches off, and the same with the right. It's pretty basic, but yeah, you always have engines off when you park at the gate, and you need permission to start the engines and make sure the area is clear. Now, if I bring the display with the engines on, you can see engine 1 and 2, it just said low oil pressure. And basically, yeah, it should always say that because the plane isn't clever enough to think that you're actually parked at a gate. So it is in some aspects, but not in engine instruments. So it just thinks that, oh yeah, your engine's disconnected and stuff like that. So it's kind of a bit of a warning. Bright yellow with black font. It always says that. If it says low oil pressure when the engines are fully started, then you've got a bit of a problem. It's worth checking that out if that happens. Now, of course, when you're parked at a gate, you have the parking brake on, which is here. I'm switching it on and off now. It's at the bottom of the screen. Right there. Parking brake on. Okay, so when the parking brake is on, yeah, you just parked at the gate. Basically, guys, if you have the left or right engine, obviously if you have a fire in the left engine, you have the fire suppression units. So the left engine's on fire, you switch that on, the right engine's on fire, switch that on, engine 1, 2, and so on. Auxiliary power unit, which is the backup power unit for the 737, which is this. If it has a fire, this is the suppression fire switch. That's pretty useful. Now here you've got your comms, and now if you're using Flight Sim, chatting to ATC like this, it says there, if I click this, you will see Dubai ground, it changes. The top one here, which says standby, it changes automatically, so you don't have to worry about that, really. And here you have the rudder, the trim and position indicator. Now this, along with the aileron, the roll position indicator, that is very useful, but you don't have to use it. When the autopilot is connected, then I always use that. I'll show you how to I'll get onto the autopilot in a sec, but I'm going to teach you the basics again. Okay guys, so once you, if you want to start the engines, I'll show you how to do that now. Oh actually no, first of all I'll show you the APU. If you've got a battery failure, you can see here, everything switched off there. Hold on a sec, just turn off the panel light switch. There you go, that's the panel lights. I'll keep them on for purposes, obviously. Yeah. So if you got a power failure, see everything's off here. If you've got a failure like that, what you do guys is you see this panel here. You make sure the generators are on for engine 1 and 2. You switch that to on, and once you've done that, you literally look for the APU start, which is here next to the taxi lights. If you prick that to start, it should come up with it should come up with power. So it's basically a backup power unit, emergency power. Obviously, if I click off of that now, it will turn off. Of course, you know, yeah, it's pretty useful. So I'm going to go back to standard power now. Okay, so what else you have guys up here is pitot tube heat. Pitot heat is it doesn't have to be on. For example, the only really condition that it doesn't have to be on is if you're in a really hot desert. Now, pitot tubes are what picks up the speed. Basically, they're little tubes on the front of the plane, and they stick out the nose, and basically it tells you, it's responsible for giving you your speed, your airspeed, and basically how it works is the more air that goes into this pitot tube, well, the more air that hits this pitot tube, the faster it thinks you're going. So, you know, it's quite an easy way of actually displaying your airspeed. So basically, if you're in a cold area like I am now, well, not Dubai, no, Dubai's not hot, so you don't really need that on, but you can switch that to on. And also you have, yeah, that's it, and you have engine anti-ice and wing anti-ice, and that's the same circumstances. For example, you know, but it's annoying because if you press the engine anti-ice, it switches the wing anti-ice on automatically. But in some cases, you might not have to have the engine anti-ice on. For example, you can just have the wing anti-ice on, so it keeps the fuel ice free, because ice can be very dangerous in fuel. Okay, so here's obviously the no smoking signs, fasten seatbelt sign. I'll just let you listen to them now. Okay guys, it's actually, yeah, it's actually relatively quiet now, to be honest. Yeah, so basically guys, I'll show you the lights now. This is the landing lights here. You see the lights on and off there. Taxi lights, for some reason they don't actually work in 737. They might work on yours, but I think mine's just got a bit of a bug, I'm not sure. But instead of using the taxi lights, you just use the landing lights. Doesn't really make much difference, but yeah, okay, so I'll tell you how to start the engines in a minute. Okay, so the logo lights, guys, are literally, well, they should be on the back of the plane, but they're not actually working. Basically, on the tail fin of the aircraft, for example, the Singapore Airlines logo, it should light it up, but it doesn't for some reason. I know it definitely works on the 747, but for some odd reason it doesn't actually work on my 737. There's quite a lot of things with the aircraft in this game, but it's fine because it doesn't really affect much. Now, here we have strobe lights. You always need strobe lights. You see on the back of the aircraft, the white flashing light, that is the strobe light. You always need that on. The wing lights, you can't actually toggle them. Like I said, again, the 737's got a few issues. It's not actually a complete 737. Yeah, so basically, obviously the yoke, you've got, you know, your controls. This is to obviously bank to the right, and it varies a little. You can change it, bank to the left, pull back, so, you know, put the nose up, and then push forward, it's to pitch the nose down. It's relatively simple. Now here you've got the speed brake, guys. Speed brake is, you only use it if you're going a little bit over speed, and if you need a sudden, if you need to slow down suddenly, if the plane is going too fast, or it's rate of speed is a bit too rapid, then you use it, but you only apply it gently like that, and then when you land you pull it all the way back as soon as you touch down. It's very dangerous to do it in mid-air, so yeah, as soon as you touch down it should automatically, if you set the auto brake to I think it's 3, I'll show you that in a minute, then it should automatically do it, so you don't have to worry about that. Now of course here you've got the flaps, so I'll go into co-pilot view so you can see that. Okay, so you've got the flaps here. Here obviously the flaps, basically it's quite simple. The flaps, basically set them to 0 when you've landed and when you've slowed all the way down, and you're taxiing you can set them to 0, but what for takeoff position is to 10 degrees, and you can only have this I think below 210 knots, and when you're coming in for approach, like literally about 2 minutes before landing, you adjust them like every now and then, slow down, flaps, slow down, flaps, slow down, flaps, and so on. So eventually when you land you will have full flaps, but you just gradually increase the angle of flaps as you're coming into land. So it's relatively easy if you've got it all in your head. What I might do, guys, is show you a landing and approach in a separate video maybe, or just watch one of my videos of a cockpit landing view of me doing everything in a cockpit and showing you what to do. So yeah, that's that. The throttle, guys, obviously the engine control, varies, you can do loads of stuff. Oh yeah, also guys, if the speed brake gets stuck down, just quickly give the throttle a push, and it just, oh hey, hold on a sec guys. Okay guys, sorry about that. So, yeah, so basically, where was I? Yeah, the throttle is relatively easy. When you touch down you can reverse the throttle. If you hold F2 it reverses, and it reverses up to 25% throttle, and you need that for landing. When you reach 60 knots you disengage it and you just press F1 for idle throttle. Also guys, shortcuts, if you hold F3 it increases thrust, if you hold F2 it decreases thrust. F1 is idle and F4 is full thrust, so yeah, but I have a Yoke now and with a adjustable throttle, so it's quite good. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. No, that's not pretty much it. Quite a fucking lot to show you actually. Okay, let's just have a look. There's planes. Yeah, I'm kind of queuing up, but it doesn't matter because I'm not online, so it's fine. But I don't care about them. Okay, so obviously if I was a real pilot now I'd have the sack. But yeah, let's just have a look. You guys go out to the engines now. Basically what you do, guys, is start the engine. Say if you wanted to start engine 1, you'd put the fuel switch, fuel control switch to open, put that back up, and then what you do is check that it crosses the crossfeed valve, check that it says valve open in the blue light above it. If it says valve open, close the valve, have the crossfeed, put the left fuel switch on because that is for the left engine, and then literally you toggle this switch here to start it. Okay, I'm going to listen now. Okay, so that is the left engine started, and that's pretty much it. I'll repeat it for the second engine. Remember to turn off the fuel pump switch after. It's not hard to forget because it makes a really annoying noise, so yeah, I'll just do that. I'll do the second engine now. Okay, so that's 1 and 2 started. And that's it for pretty much instruments. I'm just going to show you autopilot, and then that's it really. Oh yeah, also obviously the gear lever. When you're literally lined up with the runway, when you're about 1,000 feet away from the runway, you put the gear down. Obviously when you take off, when you've got positive rate of climb, after takeoff you put the gear lever up, but obviously you don't do it because it makes this noise. Yeah. So yeah, that's gear lever. Also another thing is the auto brake switch. Now for some weird reason you can't actually toggle it in 3D cockpit mode, but you have to go into 2D cockpit, and you see this here. I can't really show you, but it says underneath the heading on the autopilot, it says auto brake. I'm moving it now. There's a switch. Okay. So basically when you're parked idle you put it to RTO, and when you're taxiing you put it to off. When you're coming into land, I think you put it to either 1 or 2, but I'm not sure. I think you put it to 3 or max in an emergency, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay, also guys, backup instruments. Now if you've got a failure, like I showed you earlier, an electrical failure, you can still fly the plane. For some reason it's not actually dying. The power. The battery is off. That's so weird. Basically, if you don't have any instruments, you can use this. So this is the pitch indicator. It's not electric, it's just there. This thing here, backup attitude indicator. It's the same as that, but obviously not electrical. Okay, this here is your altitude. Backup altitude is basically the same as this display. And this here is your heading. So basically an a non-electronic version of this. Another thing, this is your flaps indicator. So to show that the flaps are actually out, so I'm going to adjust flaps to position 1 now. It moves, and if I put it all the way, it shows its progress. And if I put it all the way now, I'm pressing it all the way. It should take quite a while, but it will do it. And there you go. So yeah, that's flaps all the way. I'll show you now. Oh, you won't be able to see. Oh yeah, you probably could see. You see the flaps out now. I'll bring them back in. See, as I explained earlier, the flaps are used for purposes of coming to land and stuff. Yeah, the autopilot, guys. Now basically if you want to use autopilot, which you probably will, you put the flight director on. So that switch I just switched on there. So you put that on. Also, basically guys, you see on this display I've just brought up, right at the top in the middle it says 300. Now basically, that is for the autopilot heading, but I'm changing it now. If I wanted to stay heading 300, so that's 300 degrees, I can change the heading to whatever I want the plane to be heading for. So I can change the autopilot's heading 300, and it will just go like that, literally. It's by, you just adjust it like that. Also, out of this display, to the right of the display I just brought up on the screen, you can see the altitude. If you want to use the altitude, basically you can just adjust this switch that I'm doing now, and you can see on the display that I brought up, it actually says the altitude. So the maximum flying altitude of 737 is 37,000 feet to 40,000 feet. That's normally the highest altitude they fly at. I think 40,000 feet is the limit, and you cannot go higher than that for safety reasons, and because the engines don't have enough air to physically go higher. I think I've actually got a 747 to about 50,000 feet before, but that was, I think the engines died, so I wouldn't recommend it. Obviously if you want the autopilot things to be put into effect, you can toggle it on and off. For example, the altitude, 37,000 feet, I can do that, and I can toggle it on and off. And you can see the vertical speed there. You can adjust that, so that's how many feet per minute, so that's 1,800 feet per minute. You can change it to 1,900 or 1,700, whatever, but it's best to keep it at 1,800, just for, easy, gameplay. Heading, the heading indicator, heading hold, this, obviously, you just switch that on. Now guys, if you want the plane to be kept at a speed and you don't have to keep doing the throttle, you switch this on, which is the auto throttle. You set it to whatever speed you want. The below 10,000 feet speed is generally 250 knots. Above that, if you're cruising to 37,000 feet, for example, you can set the speed to 305 knots. And I've got a few checklists, so I may put them in the description, but I can't actually remember where they were, but I'll try and find them and I'll try and put them in the description. Yeah, so that's that, and obviously if you want it on or off, there's the speed hold switch there underneath the auto throttle, but I'm not going to do that now because otherwise the engine will actually, you know, do it. Basically guys, if you want it to be put into effect, you can toggle the autopilot, and it is the autopilot's master switch is this CMDA button, and it can also be activated with Z on your keyboard. Now basically guys, lots of things will change if I press this autopilot button. Well, not much actually, but your plane will try and fly and do what you've requested. Now I wouldn't advise engaging autopilot until you've actually taken off and you've got a steady climb and flight, just for safety reasons. And yeah, God, my throat's hurting. Yeah, so that's pretty much it guys, how to fly a 737. This may be a lot to take in, but trust me, watching documentaries is very useful. And just getting used to doing this routine. Start off with the basics, with the autopilot and that. Don't worry about everything else. And then as you get confident in that, you can start adding more things in. I'm relatively confident now. I used to be, but scared flying this thing. But to be honest now, it's fine. I've been playing Flight Sim for about a year and a half, and I admit my first video, I'll probably link that in the description actually, was very bad. I couldn't even land it like properly, because no. But yeah, so that's pretty much it guys. What I'm going to do now is show you a takeoff, and I'm going to engage autopilot, and what I'm probably going to do is I'll change the time quickly so I can see, because I don't like flying in the back around. You're not really supposed to do this, but I'll take off, I'll come back around, and I'll land again. Yeah, I'll just do that. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the sound on. You see on the flaps to 10 degrees. Parking brake off. Okay, now autopilot is now engaged guys, and I'll show you what it does. So I'll engage the auto throttle as well. Okay, one more thing guys, landing speed of a 737 is about 160 or 150 knots depending. You probably want to go a bit faster if it's wet conditions, just in case you need a sudden burst of speed, because it's quite dangerous if you stall it at very low altitude. So yeah, about 160 knots I'd say is landing speed. Also, the landing speed does actually depend on how heavy the plane is. For example, if you've got loads of passengers, then it can, you know, vary. Hey guys, so I'm going to swing the plane back around and do a land now. Yeah, I'll just do a landing. Okay, another thing guys, just to let you know, if you're trying to line up with the runway and you find it difficult, there's 4 lights that indicate how well you're lined up with the runway. Basically, if there's 2 white lights and 2 red lights, that means you're perfectly lined up. You can see them probably in the distance now if you're in full screen. They're all red, which means I'm nowhere near the right angle. I'm going to go ahead and line up, and yeah, I'll see you when I've landed.
Pacifica 7578, taxi to and hold short of runway 30 left via taxiway Zulu Whiskey Kilo Mike. Contact tower on 118.75 when ready. Taxiing hold short runway 30 left via taxiway Zulu Whiskey Kilo Mike. Pacifica 7578.
What the fuck? Okay, so some odd reason guys, my plane just decided to automatically engage auto throttle and I have no idea why. It's incredibly weird. Okay, so I'm going to land at the left runway. I think it's 12 left, it's 12L. Put more flaps out.
Ground, Pacifica 8587, ready to copy IFR clearance. Alexandria. Pacifica 8587 is cleared to Alexandria Airport. Is filed. fly runway heading, climb and maintain 6,000. Departure frequency is 124.45, squawk 0072.
Pacifica 8587 clear to Alexandria Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 6,000. Departure on 124.45, squawk 0072.
Pacifica 8587, read back correct. Contact ground on 118.35.
Flight ground Pacifica 8587 with Papa, ready to taxi IFR.
Pacifica 8587, taxi to and hold short of runway 30, left via taxiway Yankee, X-ray, Juliet, Juliet 3, Juliet 4, Kilo Mike. Contact tower on 118.75 when ready.
Taxiing hold short runway 30 left using taxiway Yankee, X-ray, Juliet, Juliet 3, Juliet 4, Kilo Mike. Pacifica 8587.
Okay, so yeah, there you go guys, that's pretty much it. That's how to fly a 737. You see I just landed there. I landed on the outside view just so you guys could see. I did admittedly touch down a little bit late, but the trick is to come in quite high. Come in, the reason for flaps is because it slows you down. And yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it guys. Also a few more things. If you don't have a yoke, like a proper flight stick, you can right click and click mouse yoke and do it with the mouse, although I do recommend getting a yoke because it is a lot better and it, yeah, get the hang of it quite easy. Yeah, flying a plane is relatively, at first it may seem a bit daunting, but it's quite easy once you get the hang of it. You know, like that just there, it was so, you know, simple, easy for me. You may be thinking, oh my god, how do that? But I know it sounds weird, but I know it sounds daunting, but about a year's time, if you just play this game every now and then, it'll be fine, to be honest. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, one more thing. Maximum speed is 20. Do not take off on the taxiway, especially online, because you get banned from the server. And yeah, just don't. Yeah, just don't take off on the taxiways. Always practice instruments. I will show you how to automatically land with Autopilot in another video. If you want that, then just let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.